This time on Camp Outside, we do a review of the Penn Fierce 4. This one is a 3,000 size reel. Let's do a review. Hey guys, I'm Kevin with Camp Outside, your inside source for all things outside. Well, one of the things I love to do on this channel is gear reviews, especially fishing gear reviews. And today I'm really excited because Penn asked me if I would be interested in doing a gear review on their Fierce 4 spinning reel. And so they sent this reel to me, guys. I did not pay for it, just want to be upfront with that. They did send it to me in exchange for a review, but also the reason why Penn reached out to ask me if I wanted to do a review on the Fierce 4 is because the Fierce 4 is going on a promotion right now on Penn Fishing's website. So it's on sale, they're running a promo, so you can get this reel at a discounted price. So awesome. If you're looking for this kind of reel, I definitely recommend you use my link below to go check out Penn and pick up a Penn Fierce 4. So this is a really interesting reel, guys, and I say that because it is very different than most of the spinning reels I fish. And the reason I say that is because this one is an all metal construction reel, which means it's heavier, right? So most of the reels that I fish with are some kind of composite or carbon or whatever. I don't even really know what they make them out of anymore, but the bottom line is most of the reels I fish with are a lot lighter in weight. But I've also broken reels that are lighter in weight on big fish. As a matter of fact, just recently, my son Delaney, I think he got foul hooked on either like a shark or maybe a big ray or something like that. And as he was trying to reel it in, as he was reeling it in, the reel was wobbling back and forth as it was trying to put line on the spool, and it actually snapped the reel at the stem, right? I don't know what it would take to snap this all metal reel, but it would be a lot. I can't imagine that the line wouldn't break before this reel. So, you know, if you are targeting large fish, you know, and this is a saltwater reel, which we'll get into in a minute, but if you're targeting large fish on the flats, right? Let's say you're targeting cobia, or maybe you're going after big, like if you're fishing up in the Northeast or something, you're going after big stripers, or you know, you're targeting big fish on smaller gear, like 3,000 size gear. Having something that's all metal construction might be something that you want to consider. Yeah, it's heavier, so you know, you're going to feel it if you're doing a lot of casting, right? And that's why I fish lightweight stuff, is because if I'm fishing artificial baits, I'm casting 300 to 500 times a day, if not more, probably more. Yeah, I'm probably casting even more than 500 times a day. And then ounces matter. But if you're doing other types of fishing, or you are fishing, you know, you're casting big plugs and that kind of thing for big fish, you're gonna want something that's really, really strong, even if that means it's a little heavier. So I'm really excited that Penn sent this to me, because this is a little bit of a different reel for my arsenal than I normally fish. And guys, I'm just going to refer, I have my iPad down here off screen. I'm just going to refer to it for the stats, because it does have the weight, and the weight of this reel is 11.8 ounces. So normally I'm fishing reels that are like, you know, 7 ounces. So this is almost double, right? Or maybe they're 9 ounces. I can't quite remember, but this is a lot heavier, and it feels heavier, but it feels beefy, guys. I mean, it feels, you know, really well made. So, you know, but 11.8 ounces is what the 3,000 size weighs. If you want the 2,500, that's 9.9 ounces, so a little bit lighter. Let's talk about some of the other specs. So, since I've got the iPad here, so this reel comes, guys, in a variety of sizes. It comes in a 1,000, a 2,000, a 2,500, a 3,000, a 4,000, a 5,000, a 6,000, and an 8,000 size reel. So you can get this for everything from really small, light applications in the 1,000 size, all the way up to the 8,000 size, which, you know, you could put these on like, you know, big surf casting rods. You can put them on, you know, big, you know, boat rods for big fish. You know, there's an application for you because, you know, like I said, from 1,000 to 8,000, that is a big difference in size. And if you watch my channel, you know I'm a huge fan of the 3,000 size reel. So I really like the 3,000 size reel for most of the fishing that I'm doing, whether that's freshwater, you know, fishing where I'm fishing for bass, for walleye, for muskie, for pike. I like a 3,000 to 4,000 size reel for those applications. And saltwater, I'm doing a lot of flats fishing for, you know, snook, redfish, sea trout, flounder. And for that, I love a 2,500 to 3,000 size reel. Or I'm doing some artificial reef fishing, either near shore or you know, inshore reefs, where I'm usually fishing either a 3,000 or 4,000 size reel for that, where I'm fishing for snapper, sheep's head, even grouper, you know, that kind of thing. And so I love the 3,000 to 4,000 size. And so when Penn asked me what I want, I said, well, send me the 3,000 because, well, I can't have enough 3,000 size reels. So just in looking at it, right, it is a really well-made reel. It feels really good. It has a big handle, right? So this is bigger than most of the handles that I have on a 3,000. And that's really for fighting those bigger fish. You know, it feels good in the hand. You can get a good, you know, grip on it if your hands are wet. You know, if you're in adverse conditions, it's like a neoprene, like EVA foam type grip. I think that you know, you won't have a problem with that. The reel feels pretty good. It is not as smooth as some of the other reels I have. Well, let me take that back. It does feel pretty smooth. There's no grinding or anything like that, but it doesn't spin freely as long as some of my other reels. And I think the reason for that is that they're trying to keep the salt water out of the reel. So there's like, I'm guessing there's a gasket in there or something that keeps this, you know, from just going and going and going. You can kind of feel it as you turn, that there is just a hair of resistance. And I just think that what that is the tight tolerances to kind of keep the salt out of the inside of the reel. And that's really, really important when you're saltwater fishing, right? You know, I'm famous for saying that you guys can use freshwater stuff in saltwater, and you can, right? Because it's all about gear maintenance. It's all about taking care of the stuff that you use. If it sees saltwater, guys, you need to rinse it down with fresh water after every trip. And then I use cleanse oil, lubricants to either spray down my reels or go in and grease them every once in a while. I am constantly maintaining my reels because I want them to last. And that's true whether you have this reel or you have any reel that's built for saltwater, or you're taking your freshwater stuff and using it in saltwater. You need to do the same maintenance, guys, because salt just corrodes and nothing is going to last if you don't maintain it in saltwater. So regardless of what reel you use, you definitely want to maintain it. But it is nice to have stuff that's built to withstand the saltwater. So a great example is they do have, let me see if I can run this up. So I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, there are a few little cutouts, right? Like this right here, like that right there. That's a cutout on the spool. But they're kept to a minimum, right? There's a lot of reels that, to reduce weight, they skeletonize the spool. And the problem with that is it lets water in to get up under, you know, in here, right? So this, you know, while there is a little design feature, you know, and maybe a little bit of weight savings, that's going to keep most of the salt out because it's not open in there. As far as the spool itself, right, is a braid ready spool. So you see this red band there. So in a lot of reels, if you tie braid directly to the spool, it's going to spin on the spool. It never gets tight. And then you have loose line on your spool, and that's not a good thing, which is why a lot of fishermen will use a monofilament backing where they'll tie monofilament onto the spool, and they'll spool some monofilament onto the spool, and then they'll tie monofilament to braid and then fill up the spool with braid. With this, if you want to go braid, you tie the braid right on that red part, which is basically a rubber gasket, which will grip that braid, and so you don't have to worry about monofilament backing. Now, this spool will take a ridiculous amount of braid if you don't use monofilament backing, and quite frankly, that is expensive. You don't need to do that. You don't need to fill up a spool with braid. You'll never use that much line, and if you do, if you have a fish that spools out that much line, boy, you are in for a fight. You better go chasing it with a boat, because you know, you'd hate to lose a whole spool of braided line. So I always use backer, no matter what. If it's braid ready or not, I always use a monofilament backer, and then I load it up with about 150 yards of braid for my application, and I really never have a problem. I've only hit the monofilament backer 2 or 3 times fishing. One was on a big blue fish in Sarasota Bay. It took all my braid on a run and took me all the way down to the monofilament backing, but because I used the same pound test monofilament backing as I do the braid, I was able to actually reel that fish in and catch it, which was pretty cool. And then one other time it broke me off and so I lost the fish. So like I said, I've only been spooled down to the monofilament backing a few times, so it's a really, really safe thing. And I think what's really cool on this, and I'm going to take this spool off and show you, is that it gives you a line on the inside of the spool. I got to keep twisting. And that line basically can give you an indication of where you should spool your monofilament backer to. So if you can see that little red line right there? So you can fill your spool with monofilament until it hits that red line, and then go ahead and load it up with braid. And then it's also on that side too. And so by doing that, you can save a lot of money on braid and still, you know, have a decent amount of braided line on the spool. The reel is equipped with their HT100 drag system, and I really like the drag system on Penn reels. I fish a lot of conventional Penn reels for bigger fish, and so I do like their drag system. It works pretty well. And on the 3000, just to check, the max drag is 15 pounds on the 3000. And on the 2500, just in case you were wondering, it's 12 pounds max drag. And on the 4000, it's 15-pound drag as well. That's a lot of drag, guys. I mean, there are some reels out there that are putting up some crazy drag numbers, like 30 pounds of drag. I don't know that I'd want to crank that thing down much more than 15 pounds of drag. That is a lot of drag. So I think it's definitely going to be plenty of drag for your use. Let's talk about gear ratio. So in the 3000, the gear ratio is 6.2 to 1, which is a fantastic gear ratio for me. I really like that gear ratio when I am fishing 3000 size spinning reels. There's a lot of reels out there, especially the less expensive ones that, you know, are in the 5.2 to 1 or 5.9, which is pretty close to 6.2. But in these reels, I really like them because from the, you know, the 2500, even the 2000, which is smaller, and the 4000 are all 6.2 to 1 gear ratio, which I think is the right gear ratio for most of the fishing that you're going to do, whether that's if you're going to use it in freshwater for bass, or you're going to use it for pike muskie, or you're going to use it in the saltwater for your inshore, nearshore saltwater species. 6.2 to 1 is a great ratio. Let's talk about bearings. So this reel is equipped with 4 sealed stainless steel ball bearings, and then it has an instant anti-reverse bearing. So some people will say that's 5 bearings. You know, like I said, it does feel really, really smooth. I like it. It's funny to me, and also, guys, it does have instant anti-reverse. So that's pretty common in all the reels today. I've still got some old Shimanos that are not instant anti-reverse, and it weirds me out every time I fish with them because I'm so used to instant anti-reverse now. But these reels, you know, feel really smooth. It's interesting to me how much smoother spinning reels are getting as time goes on. They didn't used to be nearly as smooth, but you can pick up a lot of reels at a lot of different price points, guys, and they're pretty smooth. And I think that because of the steel construction, this reel, when you're fighting big fish, isn't going to do much wobble. So it's I imagine it's going to be smooth under a lot of tension as well. So let's talk about braid capacity. That's a hard topic because I don't know what kind of braid you're going to spool on this, right? If you're using, Spider Wire or Berkeley X9 or Power Pro or Daiwa J braid, there's a lot of different braids out there, and each of them are going to have a little bit different of a diameter, and the diameter size changes how much line you can put on the spool naturally. So I'm just going to read the specs that Penn puts out, right? And that should give you just kind of an idea. So braid says 250 yards, a 15-pound braid, and then 180 yards, a 20-pound braid, or 130 yards of 30-pound braid, and that's printed right on the reel. I am going to load this up with 10-pound braid, so I'm going to even have more, but I'm also going to put monofilament backer on. So I'm going to put monofilament backer on, and then I'm going to load it up to about 150 yards of 10-pound braid. And the reason I do that is I fundamentally believe the lighter the line, the more strikes you're going to have. Now, that could mean that you're going to lose a big fish, right? But I do a lot of wintertime fishing in Florida, and when I do a lot of wintertime fishing, the water is clear. And when the water is clear, I think fish can see line and leader, and that might cause them not to strike as much. So I pare down all of my gear. I fish a lot smaller, right? I fish smaller baits, I fish smaller hooks, I fish smaller leader, I fish smaller line. And I get more fish, I get more strikes. If I'm breaking off constantly, if I'm somewhere where, I just am not having good luck because I'm in a place where there's bigger fish, well, then I typically will up my leader, right? And so I might have 25-pound leader tied to 10-pound line. And even if I'm doing that, oftentimes I can catch the fish. So don't underestimate the strength of 10-pound braid. It's pretty strong, but you can fish whatever you want. Also, the other thing is where I fish in Florida, it's high fishing pressure. These fish are seeing fishing boats constantly. And so I need the longest casting distance I can get, right? I am routinely out fishing other people on my boat because I'm casting farther than they are. And by getting my bait out away from the boat, those fish don't necessarily see me or see the boat, and so they are less shy about striking a bait than they would be if you're fishing closer to the boat. And so your line will determine how far you can cast. Typically, the thicker the line, the less distance. And so if you are fishing 10-pound braid, you might get a few feet further than if you're fishing 15 or 20-pound braid. And so, you want to maximize your casting distance if you're fishing in places where there's high fishing pressure. So all that to say, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to load it up with 10-pound braid, but you can load it up with whatever you want. I think this thing will handle it. I also recommend that you match your braid with what your rod can handle, right? Because if you load this thing up with, 60-pound braid and you put it on a rod that's, really set up for 15-pound braid, and you're fighting a big fish, the chance is that your rod will break before your line does. And while I don't ever want to lose a fish due to my line breaking, I also don't want to break a rod. So just something to consider. Guys, I would love to get this out on the water and do a fishing demonstration with it. Unfortunately, this time of year in Florida is hit or miss for getting on the water, and it is blowing and nasty. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get a fishing video for this. I want to get this video out because, like I said, Penn is doing a promotion on this reel and is selling it at a discount. So I wanted to get that information out to you guys in case you were looking for a reel like this. But rest assured, next time I go fishing, I am going to shoot a video with this reel in action so that you can see how it casts, you can see how it retrieves, and hopefully you can see it catching big fish. So guys, I guess I will leave it with that. I think this is an excellent reel. Oh, let me talk about price, right? And so I normally don't talk about price because prices fluctuate, but I'm starting to just kind of think that maybe that's a bad strategy, because you guys really, you know, my channel is really geared to, not the professional outdoorsman, but the family that wants to get outside, right? And so I get that buying gear is expensive, and when you've got to outfit a whole family, that's really expensive. So this reel right here retails for $99.95, right? So it's just under $100. And if you watch my channel, I always say that if I'm going to spend $100 on something, I expect it to perform. I consider like $100 to be the threshold for a high performance piece, right? And I will say that I'm really impressed with the build quality of this reel. I mean, the bail spring sounds good. Like I said, it's very smooth. Feels well built. Feels like a tank, right? Feels like I could go tackle any fish swimming around in Tampa Bay or Sarasota Bay, which are the places I fish. Feels like I could take this to my lake cabin in Minnesota and catch pike with it all day long. I think that this reel will hold up. Like anything, salt will be the enemy of this reel, right? The more I fish with this in saltwater, the more it's going to take a beating. And like I said, it's all about maintenance, guys. Whether you buy a $100 reel or a $20 reel, if you are not maintaining that thing and fishing it in saltwater, it's not going to last. So I think, though, that with the proper maintenance, I should get plenty of years of use out of this reel. So I think that you can be confident if you're looking for this kind of reel, right? And you got to take weight into consideration. So, if you're doing a lot of casts, you might want something that's a little bit lighter. But if you're fishing popping corks, or you're fishing, you're doing vertical jigging, or you're doing, some live bait presentations, where you're maybe not making that many casts, or you're fishing for big fish, you're going after big fish, I'd seriously consider the Penn Fierce 4, right? I think it's a solid reel at a decent price. And guys, with the promo going on, even though Penn sent me one of these, I might have to pick up another one just so I have a spare or an extra rod on the boat. So really, really cool. They also sell them in combos, guys, so you can get it paired with a rod. And I'm going to do a review on that because I actually have one of these as a combo. But that combo is not, as far as I know, is not included in the promo, just the reels. So keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, I like it. I recommend it. I want to thank Penn for sending it to me. I really appreciate it. It'll get a lot of use on pontoon fish and around the country as we go chase fish all over the place. And yeah, guys, I would say buy with confidence. So I'm going to put an affiliate link below. If you use my link to purchase, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it's a great way to support Camp Outside. I get a little commission on sale. And really, really appreciate it when you use my links. So guys, I'm Kevin with Camp Outside, your inside source for all things outside. We exist to help moms and dads take their kids camping, hiking, fishing, learn about nature, and develop a conservation ethic. We want to help you get you and your kids outside. So one of the reasons why I do these videos, guys, is I get it. I adopted two boys out of foster care, my wife and I, when they were 10 and 6. And all of a sudden, it wasn't just me fishing anymore and my wife fishing occasionally. The boys wanted to fish, and they wanted to fish with what Dad was fishing with. And all of a sudden, I had to gear up. I had to get more stuff so that the boys could fish with me and so that they could be successful. I wanted them to fish with good gear, right? And so I get it. Like going out and buying, 4 of these, for a family of 4 to go fishing, I get it. That is an outlay of money. So I don't want you to buy things that don't work for you. So that's why I'm doing these gear reviews. I think you can be confident in this. I think Penn has a winner with this. And, there are some other options, guys. Penn makes some really, really good reels. So, and just looking, Penn's got some great offerings, guys. If you're looking for, something else, I have a lot of friends who fish the Penn Battle 3, which is on sale right now as I'm looking at the Penn website. The Spin Fisher is a fantastic reel, I think it's a Spin Fisher 7, right? A little more money, but a great reel as well. And then the Penn Clash, I know there's a lot of guys who are fishing the Clash. So there's some really, really good reels out there from Penn that you can consider. And then, just when you click my link below, just, check out the Penn website. But if you're looking for something, if you're kind of on a budget, I think that you can't go wrong with the Fierce 4 if you're looking for this kind of reel. So, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that little bell icon that notifies you when we release new videos. I promise you, next time I go saltwater fishing, I will use this reel and I'll put that in a video so that you can see it. It's just, man, the weather's killing me. I want to go fishing so bad, and I can't, so that sucks. But anyway, I promise next time I will get out there and I will fish with this reel, and I will put that in a video. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.